Okay. Now, for the academic committee, we'll look first of all at agenda item number 2, which is on page 2.1 of your agenda book, and it's new programs, and they are an Associate of Applied Sciences in Industrial Maintenance, Technical Certificate in Industrial Maintenance, a Certificate of Proficiency in Industrial Maintenance, a Certificate of Proficiency in Automation, Certificate of Proficiency in Machine Tool Technology by Arkansas Northeastern College, and Mr. Mason Campbell will provide the background for that. Mr. Campbell.
Thank you, Dr. Carr. Agenda item number 2, new academic program with multiple credentials at Arkansas Northeastern College. The proposed program is designed to address critical workforce need for skilled industrial maintenance technicians within the steel industry, steel services industries, and other manufacturing sectors in the region surrounding ANC. It will train students in the areas of electronics, mechanics, welding, automation systems, manufacturing, machining operations, blueprint schematics, industrial tools, and troubleshooting. The program is being developed in direct response to industry regional demands and will provide students with skills needed to secure employment in a variety of industries. 3 certificates of proficiency, each 12 credit hours, and a 30 credit hour technical certificate are embedded in the 60 credit hour Associate of Applied Science degree. Regarding program need, the institution has been contacted by a number of regional employers to address the critical need, and according to labor market information, over 2,000 newly trained workers in industrial mechanic and maintenance technicians will be needed over the next 7 years. Initially, 1 full-time faculty member will be hired to support the program. Existing facilities will be used with nominal new equipment and renovations needed. Regarding program duplication, it's a little bit tricky on this one, depends on your definitions. There's somewhere between 9 and 12 similar programs depending on how we use zip codes and titles in the state. Projected initial enrollment tables are outlined in the agenda item as they vary drastically depending on the type of the credential for the different types. And some representatives from ANC are here to speak to your consideration of the program. I think Ryan and Stacy are here.
My name is Ryan Perkins. I am the Chief Academic Officer at Arkansas Northeastern College. I have with me Stacy Walker. She's our Associate Vice President for Workforce Development and Allied Technologies. For those that don't know, Arkansas Northeastern College, small community college in the farthest northeast corner of the state. We pretty well almost on Missouri Boot Hill line, right? And as you know, we've become pretty much the steel producing capital. And so with that, we do a lot of customized workforce training in our area. She can probably speak more to that. We do a lot of training. And through that, we realized that there's a bigger need for industrial maintenance. So we cast a pretty large net out there to see who we could get in, to see how much we needed this. So we was hoping to get a few people in the room. But 30 people show up, from human resources to plant managers to industrial maintenance supervisors that were so interested in this. They came and they helped drive the curriculum, the program goals, the outcomes, the syllabus. It was a pretty, they drove the train on this process, and they need this bad. There are lots and lots of jobs, high-paying jobs. So these students could come here and get short-term credentials, 1 semester, 1 year. These jobs are paying up to probably $180,000. So these will, I think, this will help our high school students come through, earn these certificates, and get these guys job ready for when they get out of high school. But there's just a critical demand for it. And if there's anything you want to add to that, it lines up with our strategic goals. A few years ago, we went through a strategic planning process. We invited about 2,000 stakeholders into our college, and workforce preparedness was one of the biggest things that they said, getting people ready for these jobs, these high-paying jobs, high-skill, high-demand jobs. So
I think Ryan pretty much,
feel free to add.
Well, the only thing I would really add is that this was really drove by industries. They contact me daily. They say, Stacy, we need some workers. We need industry training. It was all just driven by industry support, and we have them involved in making our curriculum and everything like that. So it was a really good process.
Companies, Nucor, Highbar, Nucor Steel, Nucor Yamato, Nucor Skyline, Tenaris, just
Big
large,
River
Big River. And they run 24/7. I don't know if you've ever worked in industry. I have. I broke more than I'd like to admit when I was working those night shifts. And who do you call when those things go down? We all need them. Maintenance technicians are just critical to the operation of any sector that you work in.
Any questions from Board members.
I've got some questions. On this program, I was actually kind of surprised when this came across because I would have thought that that would have been something that was already in place. And so I definitely see the need of it. So you said that, that local industry came to y'all about this and said, is it because we've got a lot of people retiring out that were in industrial maintenance? Or I know that we compete with Tennessee in your area quite a bit because of the income tax issue and things. So what really kind of drove that need?
Yeah, it is retirement based.
Get a
We've
little closer
got,
to the microphone.
I'm so sorry. It is mostly retirement based. So we've got workers that are retiring quickly, and then they're training, interns and grow your own type programs and things like that. But yes, that plus new jobs heavily in automation. U.S. Steel just recently built BR2, so with that is a whole line of different skill sets, not just a traditional maintenance worker.
So, and you guys feel comfortable with these enrollment projections?
Absolutely.
And
a
we're
good-
we're hoping more, but just to
Yeah.
start off, those were pretty safe numbers.
So, you answered one of my questions, because wages, I know coming out, when I saw that it was like 61,000, and I understand that that's within an hour's radius, but you answered that they're coming out and it's gonna be higher than that, which is what I expected. Do you have any plans with the associate's degree for any like 2+2 agreements with universities in the area for students to be able to continue?
Yeah, might be too early to speak on it. Like right now, we're working with Arkansas State University with our steel tech degree, and I do think we have plans down the road to maybe, I don't want to speak too early, but this could be an option as well, this industrial maintenance degree for some type of pre-engineering, something like that with them.
Okay. Because I know that they're doing a lot with steel, and so I didn't know if this was gonna filter into that.
Yeah, we're kind of involved in those. I don't know much about them. The hired grants, we're involved with that, and a lot with A-State over there, so.
And then finally, you brought up high school students. Are you going to is this program set up to where they can complete this coursework as a high school student, get their AA as a high school student, and go directly in?
They should be able to complete the certificates of proficiency while they're in high school. But like I said, they're needing people so bad at these mills that, if you come out with a CP out of high school, your foot's in the door, especially if you have some of that training in a mechanical, especially the electrical. They really need that. So like I said, these high school kids have the potential to come out and start off at 120,000, who knows, as high-paying jobs.
Yeah.
And so,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
I had a question, and that was about, first of all, the cost. The cost is quite reasonable. Are these enrollment numbers unduplicated? I mean, you don't have a student getting 2 or 3 of these degrees, do you, or proficient?
Very
They're
possible. it could be.
unduplicated?
So they're all kind of built in with each other, so they could get multiple levels of the same certificate, so I think unduplicated.
The reason I asked you that, if they're not unduplicated, you're talking about 200 new students the first year. If I'm reading that correctly.
No,
No,
it shouldn't be that many, no.
Well, it's 55 and between 55 and 60 in the industrial maintenance, 55 and 60 in automation, 55 and 60 in machine tool technology. There's
Yeah, those are
150 right
duplicated
there.
Yep, that's duplicated.
Explain that to
Okay,
me.
duplicated, yes,
Yeah,
I guess.
they're
I guess it would be duplicated then, yeah.
So they're they're getting
duplicate
duplicate
students.
programs. How many new students are you expecting without the duplication in these programs?
20, 25?
Yeah, 20 to 25 would be a good number, especially if it's in a cohort. That's kind of as much as the instructor can use or teach at the moment,
20 to 25 total, or 20 to 25 in each program?
each program.
Each program, okay. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Good
for
job,
having us.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Appreciate it.
Can I get a motion to recommend to the full board the approval of agenda item number 2?
So moved.
So moved, second?
Second.
Second. Thank you very much. All in favor? Aye? Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, agenda item number 3. Mason Campbell, the Bachelor of Science in Advanced Manufacturing Engineering and Certificate of Proficiency in Advanced Manufacturing by the University of Arkansas at Fort Smith on page 3.1 of the agenda book.
Thank you, Dr. Farr. Agenda item number 3. The proposed 120 credit hour program blends courses in traditional and applied mechanical and electrical engineering with courses from business and data science. Graduates will be prepared to design, implement, maintain, and manage modern manufacturing systems that require knowledge in automation, networking, systems integration, technical communication, project management, quality control, procurement, supply chain management, compliance, safety, and manufacturing processes. The embedded 9 credit hour certificate of proficiency in advanced manufacturing focuses on management principles in an advanced manufacturing environment to apply skills such as risk analysis, process management, and product management. Regarding program need, manufacturing jobs account for roughly 16% of local area employment, which is twice the national average. And according to labor market information, approximately 1,800 newly trained workers will be needed over the next 7 years. Program expenses are detailed in the board book and include department leadership, faculty, facilities, and technology upgrades. Funding sources include endowments, gifts, and grants from none other than Arkansas Department of Commerce and our own Department of Education, both through hired grants facilitated through a partnership with AHECB and ADHE. Regarding program duplication, while there's one similar upper-level certificate program at ASU Jonesboro, there are no other active bachelor programs similar to this proposed Bachelor of Science program in the state of Arkansas. And Dr. Shadow Robinson is here to speak to your consideration.
Dr. Robinson, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Mason, for the introduction of the program, and thanks to the board for the opportunity to represent the university today. So the origin of this really dates back to 2023 when we developed a new strategic plan and a mission statement. And embedded in that mission statement is a commitment to support the economic growth of the 250,000 people that live in the River Valley. And as Mason just shared, we know manufacturing is the most important, largest industry in that area. So we pull our team together, all of the brains we can get on campus, and say, how do we meet this need to be sure that we drive this industry forward? And with all those brilliant people in the room, the best idea we could come up with was go ask them. And so we went on a months-long tour, several weeks of going to, I personally went to over a dozen manufacturing facilities, some members of the team went to some others, and we pulled together an approximately 20 different industry member advisory board, sometimes having multiple members from each corporation, up to 30, 40 people in the room, and just ask them this question again and again. If your industry is thriving in 10 years, what should we do today so that in 4 or 5 years you've got the graduates you need? And the programs you have in front of you is basically the answer to that question. And it's the answer to that question not just in that we took notes and we went back and tried to build a curriculum, but we took it one step further. We benchmarked programs around the country, threw it up in front of the advisory board and said, go shopping. Imagine it's a buffet. You've got 120 hours you can put on your plate. You need about 35 of gen ed. If you like that, that can be your dessert. If you don't, it's your vegetables, but they got to be there. And then fill the rest of it out. And then after we did that, we went out and hired an expert in the field, Dr. Mauricio Torres, who then went through and said, okay, what are the places where we need to make some changes so that this will be ABET accreditable? And so now, as Mason shared, we have all of this energy and excitement behind the program from our local advisory board. We have the resources to do it. And that advisory board also asked for this specific version of a certificate of proficiency. It's a little unique in that it's more upper level focused, but it doesn't have the high level math requirements that high level engineering courses do. The concern and question that they had is, I have to hire accountants, I have to hire graphic designers to do marketing, but I need them to understand my industry. And how can I help them understand that industry? So we developed that certificate of proficiency so that our graduates in other programs, some of whom are already graduated and out in the field, can come back and understand at its core, how does the manufacturing enterprise function? And so with that background, I'll happily answer any questions I can.
Any questions from anyone?
So,
I see there, oh, sorry, go ahead.
sorry. Since this is a kind of a new bachelor's program, you've been working with industry on this. Is there kind of an anticipated average wage or kind of increase that you can see if students are getting this degree or technical certificate?
Certainly. I mean, I think with the certificate part, people are expecting that what that really does is open up the leadership opportunities, right? That if you really understand the enterprise, it's one thing to have an accountant that can balance your books. It's another thing be the accountant in the company that understands how it works. So there wasn't a dollar figure that we necessarily attached to it, but that was sort of the underlying question. If the CFO needs to understand the enterprise, and that becomes a much more attainable position if you understand it as an accountant. On the bachelor's degree, we certainly see average salaries in the $70,000, $80,000 range from several of our local companies for that.
I see there are no other bachelor programs in the state. Where is the nearest one?
The closest one of the ones we benchmarked was probably Wichita State has a similar program. And so we actually took a team of our team and one of the local industry partners and a few others went up there to visit their facility, talk to them about how they manage their industry partnership with the academic institution and how to ensure that we could drive that forward. And I've had a couple of follow-up calls with Wichita State since.
Is there a lot of student interest in the program?
Yes. So one thing you may or may not be aware of, we already have an existing 2+2 engineering program with Fayetteville. And that program, we already have over 150 students at UA Fort Smith intending to study engineering. And many of them we hope will stay, but many of them do choose to transfer to Fayetteville. And we have also, once we've started sharing this publicly, several community colleges have reached out to us about developing a possible 2+2 because they know that, their students may wish to work for a while, but then this would be a natural upskilling to take that next step in their career.
That was one question I had too, is if you thought most of the students were going to come from the 2 years and have a strong pathway for them, or if you were relying more so on industry to be sending people that they want to upskill. So
we think that the certificate numbers, at least initially, will be more out of industry upskilling. Certainly, we'll have some students, and we've already had a few of our current students ask about it, of, I'm thinking about looking for a job at one of these local industry partners. I won't mention the name because I don't want any of our partners to feel like they didn't get mentioned today. But will this certificate be in place? Because if I'm going to go work for them, I would love to get through those 3 courses so that when I land there, I understand it better. For the baccalaureate level program, we really figure that after a year or 2 of that program running, it'll be largely the students that come out of our region, but have traditionally had to leave the Fort Smith area because there's not a 4-year engineering program there, unless they wanted to do the 2+2 with Fayetteville, which isn't everyone's choice.
Any more questions? Lucas, you have any questions? Yeah. Heather? Anybody on the phone line have a question? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Can I get a motion to recommend to the full board the approval of agenda item number 3?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Any opposition? Okay, thank you. Agenda items number 4 and 5. Mrs. Tracy Harrell will provide the background for these items, the Arkansas Public Institutions Letter of Notification and Letters of Intent. Tracy?
Thank you. Agenda item number 4, the letters of notification received since our January meeting. Letters of notification are reasonable and moderate extensions of existing approved certificates and degrees. They are approved by the commissioner, and it must be included in your board agenda prior to initiation. So as you can see here on the slide, we had 23 institutions submit letters of notification requesting 185 actions that affected 156 unique programs of study. It is worth noting that the majority of these were curriculum revisions. And as I worked through those, this was mostly due to the Division of Elementary and Secondary Education's new requirement to add the bachelor level education programs to have the year-long teacher residency component. So our institutions are starting to make that adjustment as required by DESE. This is not a voting item, but if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Okay.
Okay?
5.
Agenda item number 5 are the Arkansas Public Institution Letters of Intent received since the January meeting. Letters of intent are notifications that we receive from institutions for their plans to offer new off-campus instruction centers, programs, or establishment of organizational units in the future. We received 8 letters of notification from 5 Arkansas institutions with their intent described here in this chart. Again, this is not an action item, but if you have any questions, let me know.
Information item. Any questions by anybody?
Okay.
Thank you very much. Action item number 6, Mr. Campbell again. Out-of-state and Arkansas private institutions. page 10-1 in your book. And Mr. Campbell will provide the background.
Thank you, Dr. Carr. Agenda item number 6. These are program approvals requested by out-of-state institutions. We only have one institution requesting approval today. It's the University of Southern California. USC has a long-standing approval to offer and they're just adding these 3 new master's programs at this time. The Institutional Certification Advisory Committee has reviewed with no concerns. So I think this is a voting, that concludes my summary. I think this is a voting item, isn't it?
Well, it needs a motion. It does need a motion. Any questions?
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Campbell? Okay, can I get a motion to recommend to the full board the approval of out-of-state and Arkansas private institution resolutions?
So moved.
Motion, thank you. Lucas? Second?
Second.
Heather? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. Okay, information items, no motion required for number 7, number 8, out-of-state and Arkansas private institution letters of notification and letters of intent. Mr. Campbell.
Yes, sir. Agenda item number 7. We have 7 out-of-state institutions and 1 Arkansas private institution that have submitted letters of notification to seek either recertification, decertification, note institutional changes, make changes to existing programs, or seek exemption for church-related trainings. As noted, the majority of these changes are related to exceptions for church-related trainings at this time, or recertification of existing programs. There are 56 total changes, and this is just an information item.
Okay. Any questions from anyone? Mr. Campbell, thank you very much.
Yes, sir. I think of one more.
Number 8, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Number 8. Thank you.
Agenda item number 8, out-of-state and private institutions, letters of intent. We have 12 out-of-state institutions and 1 Arkansas private institutions that submitted letters of intent. Total of 73 programs institutions intend to request approval for in the future. And this is for information purposes only.
Any questions? Both of these items, 7 and 8, information items that don't require a motion. Thank you very much. Well, we normally take a break here. We're not taking one today. Executive decision here. Let's keep going.
We probably do need to adjourn.
We need a motion to adjourn the committee meetings, though.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Adjourn. Okay.